Call the meeting to order. I want to welcome everybody here. I'd like to call on Councillor Siemens to bring the opening, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Recently I had the privilege of turning 60 years of age. And I say privilege because the older I get, the more I look backwards and remember friends and acquaintances who didn't make it to 60 years of age. I well remember my grandparents, my uncle and aunts, and my parents as they turned 60, and I always thought, man, they're old. They always said that they could not remember where the years had gone, and they certainly didn't feel 60 years old, and I know what that feels like. And then they would start to begin the stories. Like many of the milestone birthdays we celebrate as adults, I feel a great divide between where I have been and where I'm going. The older I get, the more I look back, and I see many years of laughing, hurting, crying, whining, working way too much, playing too little, and not stopping enough to celebrate the victories. Looking back, I am surprised at how much I have done, and yet on the other hand, I feel that I haven't accomplished enough. As I celebrate my first 60 years on this earth, I brace myself for the remaining years. When I turned 50, I wrote a list that represented 50 things I learned so far in my life. So now at 60, I've added 10 more to that list. And in no particular order, here they are. I have learned that the only consistent thing in life is change. It needs to be embraced, not resisted. I have learned that the truth is the most important. We can't always tell the truth, but we must try very hard never to tell a lie. I have learned that we need to experience the depths of misery and sorrow so that we can soar to new beginnings, and that suffering is a part of life, and it does make us stronger. I have learned to dress properly, and Audrey has had a large role in this. I have learned that life's biggest joys have little to do with wealth and power, but our spouse, family, friends, parents, children, and grandchildren who have taught me, inspired me, and looked out for me, and I do try to do the same for them. I have learned to love unconditionally, or at least Audrey has pounded that into me, and as I age, I'm beginning to understand that much better. I have learned that worrying is a waste of time, but that too is a lesson that I'm still learning. I have learned that God not only gives us what we can handle, and we don't get it, and we don't get through life unscathed, and miracles do happen. I have learned that age should make us better, not bitter, about who we are. The key thing I learned was that if I can't change my situation, I can always change my perspective. I have learned to ride a bike with all the joy that it gives me. When I'm on a bike, all I can do is crank on those pedals, but let my mind wander through all the different issues that I face in my life. I have learned to understand other people and have gained a real appreciation for all types of personalities. Like my kids, for example, they actually are interesting adults. So 60 is just a number, but the face in the mirror looks older than I think it should, but apparently it still is me. Our Canadian government keeps reminding me that if I want to, I can take CPP early. In thinking my way through this crisis of mine, I am happy and accept where I'm at. If the option was to go back, the answer is a definite no thank you. Yes, it's sad and scary to be in that initial descent as you realize there's many more days behind you than ahead. So what am I going to do? What else? I plan to continue to learn, to grow, expand, explore, and live the next 60 with all the energy that the good Lord gives me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Siemens. We have the agenda in front of us, and I'd like to also just have one addition, 13A. There is that letter that was sent around in regards to from the Great Canadian Oil Change Company. Put that at 13A, please. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Councillor Fair, seconded by Councillor Penner. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favour? Carried. We have the minutes in front of us from November 1st, starting on page 1. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Funk, seconded by Councillor Siemens. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favour? Carried. We also have the organizational meeting in front of us. Can I have a motion for those minutes as well? Councillor Swagstra, second by Councillor Penner. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favour? Carried. All right, there's no business arising from the minutes. We are at 7:35, so we'll move to the public hearings. Close the council meeting, open the public hearing in regards to Variation 2016-15, 176 Kroeker Avenue. This starts on page 7 for council. Mr. Warkentine, I'll ask you to introduce this, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and members of council, this is application for variance file V-2016-15. Applicant and owners of the property are Alan Baladia and Diane Herder. I hope I got that name correct. Purpose of the variance application is to allow a side yard setback of 0 feet where a minimum of 8 feet are required for a corner side yard in the RLD residential low density zone. Notices as required under the Planning Act have been issued. There is no correspondence on file with respect to the application. As I said, the purpose is to also bring the existing house into compliance. Recommendation from administration is that council approve the variance subject to any new information that may be provided, and that the owner enter into an encroachment agreement with the city of Steinbach should the variance be approved.
Thank you. We do have the applicants here today. Okay, does the applicant wish to speak at all? No? There might be questions for you, so we'll just wait. Is there anyone here wishing to object to this file? Is there anyone here wishing to object to this file? One last time, anyone with questions or wishing to object? Seeing none. Before we close the public hearing, are there any questions from council to the applicants or administration? Administration. Go ahead, Councillor Siemens.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, just regarding a question, if something was to happen to that home and they were to be demolished and to build a new home on that property, would it then have to be in compliance with the current zoning bylaw, or does it go back to the original location it exists today?
I believe the variance applies to the existing structure. If the structure is destroyed, that would be subject to a further review by administration, but I believe it would apply only to the existing structure.
Thank you. Further questions? All right. Thank you. Then we'll close the public hearing and open the council meeting. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Siemens.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, second by Councillor Penner. Go ahead.
I think it's pretty straightforward, Mr. Mayor. This is a house that was built likely around the 1940s sometime. It's been there for a long time, and it has always been in it. As we heard, they want to bring it into compliance. I think we should approve the variance.
Thank you. Further discussion?
Nothing further.
Anything further from council? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favour? Carried. You may now proceed. All right, we'll move now to 7B, Variation V-2016-17. This is 316 Henry Street on page 21. Council, you haven't had a chance to review this. I will close the council meeting, open the public hearing. Mr. Warkentine.
Variance file V-2016-17 for property with civic address of 316 Henry Street. Owner of the property is Southeast Man Health Inc. The application is being provided by Sinex Manufacturing Incorporated. Purpose of the variance request is to allow 2 permanent signs to be placed at the property line, essentially a 0-yard setback where a minimum of 2 feet is required for all permanent signage. The Bethesda Regional Health Center intends to place 2 directional signs on the property. One sign will be placed by the emergency entrance and one to be placed by the main entrance. Notices as required under the Planning Act have been issued. There is no correspondence on the file. Recommendation from administration is subject to any new information that may be provided that the variance application be approved.
Thank you. We do have the applicant here today, or someone representing the applicant. Is there anyone here wishing to object or have any questions? Anyone here wishing to object or have any questions? Seeing none, does council have any questions for the applicant? Does the applicant wish to speak? No. Thank you. Then we'll close the public hearing, open the council meeting. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Penner.
Vote to approve.
Thank you. Second by Councillor Funk. Go ahead.
Yes, according to the zoning requirements and as well as the engineer report, it appears that the sign locations appear to meet any concerns that the city engineer would have as far as off of the right-of-way, and they're clear of any access or approaches, so they won't cause any visibility issues. So I'm satisfied that this is the right thing to do and approve it.
Thank you. Further discussion? All right. Anything in closing? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. We have no delegations today. We'll move to 10A, accounts payable in the back of the book. Can I have a motion for accounts payable, please? Councillor Siemens, second by Councillor Fair. Any discussion? Any questions? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. We have the financial statement ending October 31st, also in the back of the book. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Funk. Any discussion? Any questions from council? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. We have the minutes on page 34 of the Board of Revision. Mr. Workington, these are just as information, or do they need to be accepted? They need to be accepted on page 36, is that correct?
Yes, there is an acceptance resolution draft on page 36, and we request council's approval or adoption of these minutes.
Very good. It was good to see that the Board of Revision did not go till midnight like it has in the past.
No, this year was a little bit better.
Very good. There is a motion on page 36. Can I have someone move that, please? Councillor Swagstra, second by Councillor Funk. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. A thank you will be conveyed to them as well, as they did some good work for the city. 10D, we have the building permits for October. This is on page 37. There's a motion on the bottom of page 37. Councillor Siemens moves that motion. Councillor Fair seconds that. Anything to add, Councillor Siemens?
Just a comment. It's good to see that people are still taking up building permits and they want to continue to build in our community. So it's not as high as it has been other years, but it certainly is still a very good year for the city of Steinbach.
Anything further? No. Council, we have seen a fair number of building permits this year. It has been good to see, especially when it comes to commercial building permits, a substantial number as a percentage. And so it's really good to see the confidence the business community has in our community, in our city. Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. We have the accounts receivable transfers to taxes on page 38. You've all had a chance to review these. Mr. Workington, is there anything that needs to be drawn to our attention?
Nothing in particular. Generally, these outstanding receivables arise due to work that's directly attributable to particular properties, and therefore, as pursuant to the Municipal Act, any unpaid balances may be transferred to the realty tax accounts.
Thank you. Council, there is a motion on page 38. Can I have someone move that, please? Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Funk. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Any questions of council? Council, I have a question, and there'll be a statement before that question, like there usually is. But council, we saw that the Penfeld and number 12 intersection has been virtually complete now. We see it open, and it's great to see. It's functioning well. But I think one of the things we do need to recognize is there are quite a number of businesses that have really had a lot of patience along the number 12 highway. It has been a challenge. A number of us are involved in businesses, and when you have the disruption or a slowing of traffic, it does affect them. And so with that, I think it is due that we say publicly a thank you to those businesses. They have sacrificed some time, hopefully for the gain of the community, but hopefully for the gain of a business for them in the long run. But I think we need to publicly acknowledge many of those businesses along there that have suffered through this a little bit, and we want to say thank you. thank you especially to Highway Mazda, for example, who allowed a lot of traffic going through their property, Source for Sports and others, and I just want to acknowledge them. And so my question to you is, do you agree?
Yes.
One of the requirements is you have to have a question with questions of council. So. All right. So I think we do want to publicly acknowledge that, and by doing that here at this, I think it's important. We do have 12A correspondence, Minister of Indigenous and Municipal Relations. This is the general support grant on page 39. Any questions? Take it as information. We have a letter from Shaw in regards to, this is on page 40, in regards to the Canada 150 programs that they have in place. Any questions from council? Any action wishing to be taken? May I suggest, council, that this information gets forwarded to ROC Steinbach, the Recreation Opportunities for Children. They are a good organization. They may be able to take some advantage of this if they see fit. So we will have administration do that. And other business, we have the added letter from Great Canadian Oil Change, just in regards to signage on the right-of-way. Council, we have gone through the mobile sign bylaw extensively. This was not changed. Does council wish to take this as information? Councillor Swagstra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think we should take it as information. The request here is to allow mobile sign in a right-of-way zone, and I think that we've been clear that in a right-of-way zone that is not where mobile signs belong. We've made many changes to the zoning bylaw to accommodate many different concerns, but if we start allowing mobile signs in right-of-ways, then we get into all sorts of visibility problems, safety concerns. So in this case, we need to keep the rule as it is.
Okay. That isn't a motion, but through consensus, are we comfortable with that response? Thank you. Any further comments? Great. Thank you. We'll take it as information, and administration will communicate with Mr. Peters. Motion to adjourn, please. Councillor Funk, second by Councillor Fair. Any discussion? No discussion on adjournment. All those in favor? It's only been 10 years. I should be able to know this by now.
What could we possibly discuss on that?
Old habits do die hard, I have to say.